Welcome back to Dust Euphoria. Today I'm going to share this wonderful collage book that my wife Lynn Cinnamon made over the course of a few months. As beautiful as the book is, even more beautiful was watching her working on it. I could tell she was completely focused, but totally relaxed and peaceful at the same time. I highly recommend anyone with some glue, scissors, and a few magazines laying around to give this a try. Just cut and paste whatever you like. As Bob Ross often said, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. In the end, the book is for you. In addition to the calm that you get when you're working on it, you also get the added bonus of reliving that calm later, anytime you leaf through what you made. I know when Lynn Cinnamon looks through this, she is partly back at the table, quietly cutting and gluing. And when I look through this book, I can see her sitting there in her own wonderful world. Also, when I look through this book, there's something else going through my mind. It's really awesome. I will quickly go over the process that she used. She started with a regular sized magazine like this one, and she tore out all the pages she thought she might be able to use in the collage book, plus a lot more to make room in between the pages. She cut the magazine in half from top to bottom, and then after doing that, she took all the pages that were left and folded them in on themselves, like that. And so the end result is essentially a book that is exactly 1/4 the size of the magazine. It's been cut in half this way, and then the pages have all been folded under that way. From there, she just started cutting and pasting. Okay, enough about that. Let's get to the book. On the outside, she's essentially replicated a hardcover book with these two floral print papers that are sort of textured. And then she also has another floral print along the spine. Of course, that's where the similarities to a typical hardcover book end, as you can tell. When we open it up, we have this wonderful floral fabric on the inside cover and the first page. And then the edge has a piece of paper with some old handwriting on it. And then over top of that is this pinned ribbon that wraps all the way around to the next page. And when we get to the next page, we have all kinds of stickers, or at least I think a few of these are stickers, and then some of them are just cut out and pasted and outlined. Once again, we have that same paper that wraps around along with the ribbon. Got this great print Victorian wallpaper almost back here with this lady and this little excerpt from text and a cassette tape over here, and it's like a Melissa Etheridge album title. And then she's actually gone in here, and these are hand painted by her, these little embellishments. We have another cut and pasted image over here. And then you can tell, you can barely see the original magazine is poking through along the edges, the black and white. And then everything else is just pasted on top. Let's flip over to the next page here. And this is great. It's a great example of how she fluctuated from keeping it kind of simple. And then sometimes she would have these very busy designs. And then right back to relatively simple. She has this piece of fabric back here that looks painterly. And then this illustration, I believe, I think you can see, I don't know if you noticed, but in the background, I put together this collage from some of the extra materials that she had when she was done. I think most all of this is featured somewhere in the book, even though sometimes you can't tell. And we were just looking at this right here, and you can tell right where it was cut out of this image right here, the little outline of where she cut it and pasted it right in here. And she's got this little blue ribbon along the bottom. And over here we have another floral print with some excerpted text, and then she's actually attached a real deal button up here along with a little piece of paper that says buttons. And then she's kind of overlaid these wonderful similar pieces of paper along the edge. Let's flip it over. It's got this bold print here, and yeah, you can see it back here. And then she's also, I'm guessing it's pretty hard to tell in the video, she's got these little rhinestones that she's glued in with a little bit of gold foil along the top. Over here is another little collage, sort of a flower bouquet in the background. And this was neat. I remember when she was working on it, she was using letter blocks, trying them out as stamps. And so she was stamping letters, and this is one of those, obviously from a letter A block. She's got another floral print paper back here, some music. And once again, she's gone in with some paint, the little embellishment. What's amazing is some of these pages, you can tell she stacked them up so much that there's no telling how many layers are under here before you get to the magazine on some of them. Here we have this architectural element and this weathered piece of paper. Once again, looks like a really old wallpaper. And she had this sort of a fairy castle stamp, and she used it a couple of times. This one's great. It looks like it was when she was just sort of cleaning the stamp and just stamped it multiple times to help get the ink off. And then she turned out she liked it. This wonderful little webbing almost, but it's real sparkly, glittery gold. And then you can see under here, this little piece of green is this big piece of paper back here. This is a great composition. There's a more clear version of that fairy castle stamp. Got the lamp here, this wonderful, powerful black and white train, and she looks like she used an actual spirograph and a ballpoint pen to work in this design. And then doodled a little bird on a Lego instruction sheet up there. Aren't these great? These compositions are so wonderful. I love them. I love every 2-page spread is just such an adventure. And I know that they just sort of grew organically over time. So neat. And here, this one's pretty simple. She's just got like 3 large cutouts from a magazine overlaid, and then this little transparent sticker. I'm not sure what that is over top of this singular page from a book. This is great. She's got this one image of looks like an island in the ocean, and then she just overlaid these little stripes, these bold stripes. So you got the pattern, the gold foil, and then some text here that says your pain will become your cure. And then this is contrasted by this black and white old photo of this lady with this, I guess, a hip-worn hair dryer, which I'm not sure what period that's from. I'm guessing it's maybe 60s, 50s. And then here she did a little stenciling, and this looks like she did some tracing, and it's a flower and a leaf, it looks like, and she stuck with that sort of floral theme over here. And this once again looks like it may be the original magazine underneath. And she's placed this ribbon along the spine here. These are beautiful. Look at these great stamps. I assume these are replicas. They're sort of transparent too, which makes me think that we got this text in the background. It's a foreign language. Oh, look at this. She's got this glittery gold ribbon with all these little gold rhinestones planted all along. That's what's so great about these books, is you can pretty much put anything in there. Oh, that's great. And then she's got some text here with a leaf stamped on it. And we've got this little handwritten quote down here that says, "Details fade, but the feeling remains." And I love when she places these ribbons along the spine, just like the previous page. It gives the feeling of a bookmark. And it's so much fun to think, when you're looking at the spread and thinking that it is bookmarked. Here's another one with this old chandelier. And then we've got an excerpt from an advertisement, it looks like, with a floral cutout pasted over top. Oh, here's more of that wonderful glittery gold mesh. It's over top of what looks to be like a really faded landscape, almost like a Monet painting. Another collage over here with a couple of, looks like, oh yeah, metallic ink stamps. Kind of goes with this side over here, bringing it together. Look at the little bird doodle over top of the text. And then this very almost industrial red printed paper in the back, and then actual textured red paper over here. It's a great marriage. And then I really like this. She's got this little cutout of what looks to be like an illustration, a painterly illustration. She's added her own paint along the bottom. And then it's got this hand over here, and she's added in these little gold sequins. And to me, it feels like a constellation. She's got the little stars, and she's sort of connecting it up. But that could just be my interpretation. That's the aesthetic vibe that I got from it, and I really dug it. And then here she's cut out I began to learn from him as much as he probably learned from me. I've got a single page from a dictionary with a green leaf stamp over top. A couple stickers here, and then this really lush blue velvet with the white frilly fabric on the top. This looks like it's actually stapled in here. And this is a wonderful thing that you see from the outside of the book. Sticking out the top there. Another fun aspect of doing these types of glue book, collage book, junk journal, however you want to define it. Got a bold black and white floral painting, or maybe it's just a plant. I don't necessarily see flowers. Great patterning over here. And then this is kind of a neat soft texture, and I wasn't quite sure what it was the first time I looked it over, but it became pretty clear when I flipped the page. This is actually a napkin, a very sort of elegant napkin. It's got this gold, metallic gold, really, bamboo, and then the very colorful flowers, butterflies, and birds. And she's just kind of wrapped it around this whole page, and then just let it be its own. And over here is kind of simple too. It's got this beautiful blue photo of water and the mountains, and then she's just kind of put a strip at the bottom with some, like a splash of red paint on it. Isn't this great? This is some of the brighter colors in the book. A lot of it is kind of muted, but that was really bold. And speaking of which, look at this. I'm not sure where she got this fabric, but man, oh man, it is so bold, it's so great. It definitely deserved its own page. There's no reason to do anything to that. That's incredible. And in contrast, she did so much wonderful stuff over here. She's got, I believe she did some stamping with this blue ink. She did it on blue paper and then a white paper. And this looks like a graph with like maybe some trigonometry on it. She's got this Victorian lady back here, and then she's overlaid it with this mesh that's sort of opalescent or shimmery. Shimmery, I guess would be the right word. Like a shimmering mesh. Makes for yet another great composition. And over here we've got this paper frame. It's probably for scrapbooking, and another cutout from a dictionary. And then a little strip over here. And this looks to me like it's Maurice Sendak, the Where the Wild Things Are. Looks like an illustration from that book. I'm not absolutely certain, but that's certainly his vibe. And then she's added in this little strip, and she did a little doodle, and yet another little flourish here in ink. And then, oh, she grabbed a Queen of Spades. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that I oftentimes grab random playing cards at the thrift store bins, and one of the ones I always try to grab is the Queen of Spades. I used to play spades a lot as a kid, and that card's always seemed a little different to me than the others. So I'll grab it. I'll grab the Jokers, Ace of Spades, maybe the King of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, and then also I'll grab other random cards too. So I'm guessing when she went to go grab some playing cards to work in, that there's a pretty good chance she was going to grab a Queen of Spades. And then I don't know if this is the same type of card or not, but this looks like the back of a playing card. And then she's tied them together with a little paper flower glued in there. Over here we got this striking black and white image of looks like a dove flying. And she's worked in, this is like a plastic strip that is meant to replicate photo film. And she's added it in over top, which is a great effect. Makes it feel like you're looking at a black and white photo with multiple other photos down along the bottom. And here, this is a very subtle but neat effect. She's taken this old black and white photo of these guys wearing fedoras. She's done sort of the Schindler's List thing here and put in some gold paint along one of the brims. And then she's got some wording down here. She's got this wonderful like maroon colored fabric here, and she's tacked on some little beads and some gold sequins over top of the text. And I should mention that as beautiful as the book is visually, it's also just wonderful from a tactile sense. It's great to handle the pages, to touch them, even sometimes to listen to them as you're turning them. And that's a little more difficult for me to relay in the video. Lynn Cinnamon recently did a video featuring the book on her ASMR channel. So I'm guessing that the tactileness of it and the sounds of it will come across much better in her video. So I strongly recommend you check that out. I'll put a link down in the description. We've got another sort of floral plant butterfly theme over top of another page from a dictionary. And then, oh, I love this. She has a 2-page spread with automobiles, which I never would have predicted from her. We got these old cars from like the 50s or so, and they're just literally riding into the sunset. Meanwhile, over here, we've got this really stylized, almost like pre-outrun aesthetic with this old car from maybe the 70s, I'm thinking. And then she's sort of filled in at the bottom with these bold stripes of color. And the end result's really great. And then here we have the Eiffel Tower, and it's outlined with some gold sequins. We have this photo of some very lush fabrics or papers, making sort of a floral impression. And then she's done what looks like a tracing, or maybe from a stencil of a floral design, and she's come in and used silver paint and then also some silver glitter. More flowers and a butterfly. We've got this wonderful wave stamp over top of another page from a dictionary. And this is very simple, but I love it. This is just a floral print piece of paper. Then over here, we've got this piece of fabric with what looks like glitter, but they're all these different sizes. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure if she had done this or if the piece of fabric she got it from was like that. But then when I was putting this collage down here together, I saw this piece of fabric, and it looks to be from like a shirt, I guess. And the shirt must have had the glitter attached to it. And I would assume it would stand up to a washing. But I love it. It just looks like the night sky. Got a little piece of thread on there. Yeah, I'll get that off. You could almost do some really faint lines in here and create some constellations. And then we have another, some more plants with another sort of bookmark ribbon, permanently input. And then this last page is really, the spread is really powerful. Over here we have an old photo that I assume is from a National Geographic. It says down here, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 1962. And then the caption says, Carnival's revelry seems to sober a costumed clown watching from a window as merrymakers dance in the streets outside. The photo is so striking. Man, and then speaking of striking photos, she's taken this black and white photo, what I assume is a man and a woman, and she's just piled on the silver glitter over what I assume was her hair. And then she's gone into his figure and head and outlined it with silver paint, a little paint pen, I'm assuming. And it's very, very striking, especially with the black and white. So that's great. And that pretty much concludes the book. Isn't that amazing, you guys? Like I said, Lynn Cinnamon made her own video, so I highly recommend you check it out and get her take on not only the book itself, but maybe she shared a little bit about the process, more than I know. And I'm not sure if she started a new one yet. I don't believe she has, but I'm guessing she will. And if she does, then hopefully we'll be making another video in about 3 to 4 months. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you the next time.